Right everyone, WeaponCollector here. Right, I'm going to show you how to make some heavy duty crossbow bolts for the Vlad and the £90 and above limbs, because the bolts that you get with it, which are these ones, this one hasn't got any flights on it, but these are the bolts that you get with it, and they don't last 5 minutes with that £90 limb. So I've thought of a couple of ways to make heavy duty bolts for the Vlad, and they didn't work, but these ones I'm pretty sure will, because I've realised what the issue was. So these are the other bolts you can get that are very similar to the Vlad bolts. The difference is the Vlad bolts are heavier than your average bolt. They do have a large actual headed point in there, whereas these ones, the shaft of that goes down to about there. I tried inserting nails in these behind this tip, and they would just snap exactly where it joined. So what I've decided to do is I've bought these gold ones because they're slightly cheaper. The head will be easier to take out, and I'll be able to distinguish them as the heavy bolts easier. What I'm going to do is take this head out and insert a 15cm 5mm nail. Now, these nails will go down right to the bottom and have enough left over to create a point. Now, you could just leave it like that. You could cut that off and leave like that point sticking out like that, but that will stop some penetration because you've got a little bit of a sort of collar. So my idea is to leave a little bit of the nail sticking out and put some of these heads on, so it will look exactly like a standard bolt, but that will be on top. And I think that'll work great. So I'll show you how to do that today. Pretty sure this whole entire process should be able to be done with hand tools as well. Before I go any further, to get the heads to go on these bolts, you are going to need some of these, either the horizontal red back bolts that you can get, or you can get cheaper ones. I don't know if I've got them in here, but similar to these should have a hollow tipped head as well, not a head that has a shaft. You take that off, which I'll show you how to do as well. But yeah, but these ones off of the redback should be pretty much perfect. They're slightly longer, but we can adjust the bolts for that anyway. And it may not make a difference. I'll check the magazine for that. Getting these heads out should be reasonably easy. Should just be able to put it in a vise, a piece of cloth to protect the bolt. Don't crush your bolt. And then you should just be able to put some pliers on and just pull it out. And there is the difference between the standard gold bolts and the Vlad bolts. And as I say, they are weighted. They're just not weighted enough, and they're not strong enough. So I'll take all the heads out of all my gold bolts, and we'll come back. Right, I'm now going to take the tips off of the plastic bolts. I can't remember how easy these are to pull off. There's two methods you could do this though. Right, that came off really easily. However, if they won't come off very easily, use a heat gun to heat the tip and then pull it out with the pliers. So there is our bolts. There are the heads. Make sure at this point the bolt and the head combined is the same length as the original bolts. Otherwise you will need to cut down part of the new bolt ever so slightly to make it the right length. When you put your nail in, just be careful. Some of these have really easy to come out knocks, so don't lose that. You'll need to glue that in as well. Yeah, that pops out really easily. It shouldn't. It should be glued in. Anyway, cut your nails as close to the head as you can, because you need as much sticking out as you can, and then we'll work out how much we'll actually need to get the head on there afterwards. So just need to cut them off now. That's quite simple to do. You might want to just tidy up the tip with a file. So that should fit in there lovely. Just enough sticking out to take the head. So I'll cut the rest of my nails and then we'll work out what needs to be done to this tip to make these tips fit on perfectly. Right, so that's the nails cut to fit inside the bolts. Now, you may say, why don't you just use them like that? The issue is, if you hit something hard, this nail could just be pushed straight out the back, and then you're making bolts again. So I think with this head on the top, which will be in line and level with the surface of this bolt, it shouldn't push the nail out. And I just think it'll be overall better, stronger, and better looking as well, and will feed better. Because that's the other thing. You may also say, well, why don't you just get some 6mm nails and put some flights on? The thing is, these are for a magazine crossbow. You could probably do that with a standard crossbow, but with a magazine crossbow, they're quite temperamental, and any differences in the bolts can make a difference to how it shoots. So you want the bolts to be pretty much as uniform as they can be, and preferably very much like the original ones it's going to shoot, so it feeds, because that's what it's been designed to shoot. So yeah, I think this method should be absolutely perfect. Once that head's on, that'll look exactly like the original bolt. It'll be so much stronger and also heavier. Should penetrate deeper, but not too heavy. So what we need to do now is sort out this head so that this tip will fit on it properly. And you should be able to do that with just a file. Right, I've left just enough of the head sticking out that needs to be filed off. So I'm going to get a standard file. I'm going to work my way around a bit. Now you should be able to do this. This should work quite easy with hand tools, but if need be, use a little belt sander, that'll work perfectly. So it's just been filed round so that the head can just about fit on. Right, that's ideal. What I'd recommend doing now is getting some super glue, putting it into this tip. Put this tip on a piece of wood that's got a little indent in it, a piece of hardwood or even a piece of metal, something that won't damage the tip. Hold that on, push it in and hammer it in a little bit. I'll try and show you that. Got a little bit of a divot here. Just make sure you don't hammer the tip into the table, otherwise you won't be able to get it out. Put some glue in. Glue won't come out. Typical. Alright, I'm just going to dip the tip in. Okay. Get rid of the excess of that. Okay, I'm now going to hammer this into here a little bit. Make sure it's nice and straight. And you've now got basically a massive one of those inserts that was in the original bolts. Right, so that's got some super glue on it. You could probably use multiple different kinds of glue. Give it a bit of a spin as you put it in. And there you go. One extremely heavy duty, potentially long lasting bolt, I'd imagine. I can't see that one breaking. Okay, there you go. I'll do a couple more now. It'll just be the same method. File around the head so the head sticks on, glue it, hammer it on, put it in the bolt. Right, so here we go with a nice set of heavy duty bolts. I've just been cleaning the glue off. But yeah, I think these should perform well. And to be honest, even if the head comes off, it won't really matter. You can just glue that back on. And that's a lot different than your bolts breaking and stuff like that, because these bend so easily. These are quite considerably heavier than the standard bolts, so these should shoot really well out of the £90 limb or anything higher than that. Basically, I'll have a little test shoot in a minute. But yeah, I'm quite happy with those. They look the part. Really good, decent bit of weight, and should last ages. And as I mentioned, even if that tip comes off, that's not a big deal. And really, unless you're shooting something very hard and the head gets stuck in, it's going to be getting compressed back against the bolt anyway, and the nail, so it shouldn't really be that much of an issue. But we'll see. But as I say, if the head comes off, I'm not that bothered anyway. I can just glue another one on pretty easily. Right, I'll weigh them, I'll put that in an annotation, and I'll do some shooting next. Well, that one, the head's come out, but that'll glue straight back in. Don't know where you can see that, but yeah, that came out a little bit, but you can just glue that back in. Still perfectly straight. This one obviously shot straight through and took the floats off. But yeah, the head is still on, the body part is still on, and yeah, the floats come off, but that's going to happen if you're going to shoot through something like that anyway. So I'd say that is a success.